What's up, guys? Ben here, bringing another video today. I wanted to make a quicker video than some of these videos and kind of give an EWC update. We had a big conversation on the flank last night. If you haven't seen the episode, it was a good episode. Big yap sesh, generational yap out of Chris Parasite. I had some good moments as well, and I think my co-hosts sometimes don't understand esports business. And then when they get in arguments, when they lose, they just say, "I don't care." Anyway. Enough about that. I wanted to kind of update the conversation about the EWC groups. We still don't have 100% confirm about how the groups going to 100% stack out, but I think we got a more accurate picture, and it really kind of changes the conversation a bit. So let's dive in. I wanted to kind of amend my last video, and let's discuss some of the updates. All right, so where a lot of this confusion's kind of coming from is this page from the online Middle East North Africa qualifier for the last spot in the EWC World Cup for Call of Duty multiplayer. So this is from that rules page. So if you go on FaZe, you Google like the qualifier, you'll find this page in the rule book. And this is literally all it says about seeding for the event. There's nothing else. This is it. 16 teams are divided into 4 distinct competition pools, Group A, B, C, and D. Each group will compete in a 4-team double elimination bracket, so GSL groups. Top 2 advancing teams from each group will advance to the final stage. You got to win 2 before you lose 2. Seeding will be determined as follows. Position 1, CDL playoffs 1 through 4, which the interpretation is that is how people plays a chance, right? 1 through 4. CDL playoffs 5th through 8th. And you notice it doesn't specify in here at all how you break the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th tiebreaker. So I think this was not really the biggest confusion, because the assumption then was just, maybe your tiebreaker is head-to-head, or your tiebreaker is, final season standings. And for the teams that finished 7th, 8th, 5th, 6th, it's pretty easy to determine kind of how that should break out. This is where it gets maybe a little bit confusion. CDL non-playoff teams. Again, I think you would see this based on the way people normally do the seeding on this. But again, it doesn't outline 10th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Well, 9th, 10th, and 11th. And then position 4, 3 challenger and 1 online MEA qualifier. MEA qualifier. Keep in mind now it's now 4 challengers. So again, one of those non-playoff teams is now a challengers team. So you see where's ambiguity about the seeding, especially once you get after positions 1 and 2, about how it orders in the groups. And so we talked about on the show last night, and I think this is kind of where we netted. Shout out to my guy Turtle for making this graphic. So here are the updates. 1, 2, 3, 4, none of this has changed. This is how those teams place a chance. 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, again, same thing. FaZe should have the tiebreaker over Miami, Seattle tiebreaker over Vegas. That all should make sense. 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th, again, it is kind of a little bit of a snake the way the seeding goes. It goes downwards and it goes back, and then it goes back again. So 9th, 10th, 11th. I don't know why last night on the show they couldn't understand this point. I was trying to tell them that it's not a snake draft, but the way you seed it is like a snake. I don't think that's super complicated. Anyway, you got 9th, 10th, and 11th, again, going to Group A, B, and C. And then this is where I think this is the way they should do it, right? It goes back around. So Group D, you get Challengers 1, which is lower, OMiT Challengers 2. So you might be a little bit confused why FC Black or Stallions is the way they're listed here, because Tommy talked about last night, they cannot go as FC Black. For the organizers, why they're in why they are in Group B as Challenger number 3, and OMiT is in Group C as Challengers number 2. I think, first off, it's a little bit, I think, of an error on Turtle's part. He should swap 3 and 2. But basically, we had a Rafi from OMiT in our chat last night. He said because of the changes on OMiT, that they are now the 3rd rated team in the sort of challengers situation. And Stallions jumps them due to the roster change. So it's Stallions and Clutch Rayn, who did get top 4, are in the 4th spot. So I think that based on the conversation last night, that barring any weird interpretation of the very vague rules that I outlined about 2 minutes ago, this is probably how they should do it. But again, that's the big caveat. Just because it's how they should do it doesn't mean they're going to do it. And we're trying to push to get confirmed that this is how things are going to run. So let's go through each group and I'll give you my thoughts on who I think will advance. All right, let's start with Group A. This one's pretty straightforward. You got OpTic. Texas should get out of this group, and they will face Clutch Rayn in the first portion of this. This is Clutch Rayn X Team War. So you probably see that name and you might think it's sort of a different team than they kind of actually are, because there's been a different squad that's represented Clutch Rayn for a good portion of the year, and that's Cobra's team. But they actually pivoted, and they've got a combo sort of roster now going into champs. And so that was Bance, Harry, Cobra, and Denza. So they kind of combined a bunch of different squads, made them kind of super-ish EU team. I mean, I don't hate the team. There's a lot of experience, and I will say with another couple weeks of practice, they could be a real interesting potential factor in this group when you consider that Carolina's making a roster change, with Ben Beans coming in for Clayster. Vegas having Ojani have to step out due to health issues, at least for this event. And so you have Fame coming in, like 2 teams making roster changes. I still maybe just don't see Clutch Rayn with sort of the players on their team maybe being able to keep up with the slaying power of some of these other squads in this group. It's going to come down to Vegas or Carolina, I think, really to see at the end of the group stage who will get out of this group. I just don't see the Clutch Rayn upset, but obviously you never know. And if OpTic sleepwalked away into this event, don't really try, like, if some weird stuff happens, maybe, but I expect OpTic to, you know, I don't think OpTic wants to lose event bans. That's all I'm saying. You know, if you're Cobra, for example, and you've been like a heavily, you know, kind of, propped up player this year, like this group is a big opportunity for Cobra to make a big splash on our CDL team next year if he can play really well at this tournament. Same for like Denza. There's a huge chance for Denza, who's been like really grinding in a challenger scene for a while, to have a good performance in this group in front of OpTic fans who will be paying attention. All right, so next group is Group B, Cloud9, which is the New York Subliners. Or I will say this: we're starting to see people change their bios. Cloud9 coming in. Is this a potential end of the city state team name thing? I guess we'll need to see. I mean, there's a conversation of it last year, but maybe this is the beginning of the end on that. We'll see. But Cloud9 is with Subliners, Seattle G2 Esports, which is Minnesota Rocker, and Stallions, which is FC Black. Again, I explained FC Black can't play as FC Black because you have Atlanta FaZe. The logos are a little bit similar, so Tommy is bringing back his Stallions branding for this. So I really find this group a little bit fascinating, and actually, like, I think probably for me, probably the hardest group of the 4. New York are obviously very good, and I just don't see them getting upset by Seattle or Minnesota. Minnesota obviously are making 2 changes with DiamondCon Estriel coming over from LAG. I assume Seattle run back the same roster. They haven't announced anything, so I assume the same thing. So I think then the question is, because we expect New York to get out at top of this group, between Seattle, Minnesota, and FC Black, like who actually will qualify? I think FC Black's kind of biggest limitation as a team right now is Search and Destroy. I think that really kind of killed them at the finals. So they need to improve on the game mode because this Rocker team will probably be decent at S&D with DiamondCon Estriel. Seattle are a little bit iffy in the game mode. They're a 500 team in Search, but their hard point is very good. So I actually think a couple of predictions for this group. I really might be going on a limb here, but I could definitely see Seattle getting last in this group. And if that happens and it's like a Minnesota versus, Stallions kind of thing to get out of the group, like I actually think the Stallions guys got a great chance. So we'll see. I think this group could potentially be wide open if upsets do happen, and potentially this will see our challengers team maybe make it to the top 8 in the single limb bracket. All right, let's move on. Group C, you got Toronto Ultra, Miami Heretics playing as Team Heretics, Boston Breach, and OMiT Brooklyn. Now, again, so this is really like kind of an interesting one. First off, there's just instant karma for OMiT here because the team that represented them is now on Boston, right? Cammy, Big Wake, and Parge are now going to be part of that Boston squad with Snoopy. Then OMiT gets a completely new team now, which was the old Houston Spartan team. So it's Prolu, Fire, Hamza, and Spart. So, like, the thing for me about this group, and Paris, I was trying to make this point on the show last night, and I didn't really like vibe with it, of like, this is like 3 challenger squads. And I didn't really like that take because, like, just disrespectful to Miami, who have been a pro team all year. They qualified for champs. Yeah, they were amateurs like last year, but who cares? Why does that have any factor into claiming that they're challengers players and they just played a whole year in the pros? Like, I just didn't understand that take from Chris. So I think, look, Toronto should get out of this group. Considering Toronto's shortcomings as a team right now, I still think they're just going to be able to kind of play foundationally the way they need to play to get out of this group. The last spot, though, could get kind of interesting. I really think Miami should theoretically beat Boston, and Miami then should theoretically lose to Toronto, because Toronto just aren't going to lose. Like Scrap's not losing to Javi ever. And then you get basically probably Miami versus Boston or Miami versus OMiT, and I think they should get out. But it might get upset along the way. This group's wide open because I just don't know what to expect from either of the 2 bottom teams in this group as far as like their new roster. It would be great for Boston, to be honest. If they get top 8 this event, that would be like a huge step for them. But I just don't know what to expect from that team with Snoop instead of Prolu. For players like Cam and Big Wake, this is a huge opportunity to try and get themselves back in the AR conversation for potentially another team next year in the pro level. I would say that this year those players were disappointing. when they were playing against pros. So we'll see how they stack up this year. But I have the top 2 teams going out in this group. But, you know, anything can happen with these GSL groups. And the one upset can cause some chaos here. I just don't think that this is a group where it's going to happen. All right, one more final group. We've got 100 Thieves, Atlanta FaZe, Lore Gaming, and Team Falcons. So this is kind of an interesting group. Falcons automatically qualify, or didn't automatically qualify. They won the MENA qualifier, and per the rules are placed in the D again. I'm assuming they don't adjust all that. You know, maybe they try to put Team Falcons in OpTic group. I don't know. Anyway, that's the way that it was done. The rules. Lore Gaming, the team that just won Challengers Champs. So that's Alex's team. Alec, Paul, Turiel, and Yuli, and the Atlanta FaZe and 100 Thieves. So a couple of things here. One is I don't see Atlanta FaZe losing to Alec. But I do think Lore Gaming's S&D prowess is very interesting in this group. I just think that the problem is that ATL FaZe, 100 Thieves, are both like really good search teams. I think that kind of gets rid of like Lore Gaming and Team Falcons, by the way, who's a good search team, gets rid of like their path to victory here. So I just don't really see the upset for the 2 challengers teams. I think the question is going to be who gets top of the group between FaZe and Thieves. If you saw the FaZe you played at Champs, I think they could lose to Thieves, but if it's the Atlanta FaZe that we've seen all year, they probably top this group and Thieves get second, which I think is really key because I assume that second, this group is going to get drawn against first in Group A. Like I assume to do A, D, C, B. So you really don't want to be second here because you have to play OpTic winners round 1, which maybe you do want to play OpTic winners round 1. I don't know. But, you know, if you get first and you play Vegas round 1 and then you get, you know, that's not a free dub, but you get my point. Like, you get a way easier road here. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, for Paul and Alec and Yuli and Turiel, again, players that have been the CDL level before, there's a big opportunity to hit a regain and show out, but I just don't see it for Lore or Team Falcons again because of the way that they play Respawn. Lore Gaming won the finals against OMiT Brooklyn by winning like a hard point in like 3 S&Ds. So I don't know, bro. I still think Thieves and FaZe get it out. I mean, my prediction really is that I think one of these challengers teams will get through. I think realistically, the one in A and B, Rayn and Stallions F/FC Black are probably the best chance. But Group C, I could definitely see if there's some weird upsets in that group. I just don't see it for Lore and Falcons in Group D, unfortunately. So let me know what you guys think of the video. Like, if you enjoyed, subscribe for more. And as always, guys, we'll see you on the next one.